Good evening. Hello. Blessings, one and all. So happy to be with you tonight. Hope you all, you're all here, so you remember daylight savings time. That's great. So, welcome to Trusting the Source tonight. That's our topic. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Reverend Denise Schubert. I am an ordained Science of Mind minister, kind of retired, kind of do this now, but we shall see. We shall see what the future brings. I'm streaming to you live from North Fort Myers, where we are hurricane recovered for the most part, not everyone, but Sanibel and Fort Myers Beach are still deep in recovery. But for the rest of us, we are all well and happy and good. I thought tonight's topic, Trusting the Source, is a very good thing to talk about because the world is giving us all kinds of things to fret about. But before we do that, let's take a moment. If you're here with me, say hello. I would love to see you, so that way I know I'm not actually sitting here talking to myself. I'm so happy to be back doing this. I did a little bit while I was in South Africa. For those of you who don't know me, I just spent 6 months in South Africa and just got back in September in time for the hurricane. I read today that Kenya is experiencing a terrible drought, which is playing havoc with the animals that eat grass. The elephants and the zebras are suffering, so we're sending our prayers back over to Kenya, to any drought area, really, and to know that God is the source and that water is on its way. Hi, Lonnie. So you can all see too who's here. Let me take a minute and bless us, and then we will jump into our topic tonight. Jan Jennings, so happy to see you. I just love you all so much, and we haven't seen each other face to face for a long time. I will be in North Carolina next week. Arkansas is here. How great is that? I will be in North Carolina next week, so hopefully I'll see you at the Centers for Spiritual Living in Raleigh or somewhere up there. And those of you in Florida, we can get together anytime. Just buzz me and we'll have lunch. So let's just take a moment while I bless us. To bless something is to call it sacred. And what I know is that when we come together in this way, that we come together in the name and the nature of unconditional love and perfect peace, we come together to align ourselves with the all good of spirit, and that our being here makes a difference, not only to you and to me, but to the universe we live in. That whenever two or more are gathered, something magnificent must happen. And so I call our time together good and very good, whole and perfect, and allow it to unfold in its perfection together. And so it is. Amen. And so it is. Amen. So I've been in the past few months to wake up in the middle of the night. And when I wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes I do a yoga nidra meditation. Sometimes I just meditate. And sometimes I go online. And last week I went online and heard a sermon by Reverend Edward Vilhune, who is one of my ministerial heroes, who runs the church in Santa Rosa, California, and his talk inspired me. So I wanted to piggyback off of his talk because it was brilliant and true. Now, I am the director of A Life of Spiritual Power, and I've been teaching and talking about this for many years now. And probably the general idea is that we have an option to live in life from a spiritual perspective rather than just merely a human one. And to live life from a spiritual perspective means to really live from the inside out, to recognize that we are more than just a bag of bones, we're more than just our past, that we are spirits embodied for the purpose of giving our gifts to the world. But for tonight's topic, really the most important thing is that we're here really to live from the inside out. Now, this is kind of important right now because the world is throwing a lot of stuff at us that could have us forget that we're not victims. It could have us forget that we're not at the effect of people, places, circumstances, things, and conditions. I know for myself, I've done so much work the past 12 months. I mean, I celebrated my 1-year anniversary on November 1st from having my hip replaced, my 1-year anniversary on November 3rd, having a small stroke following the hip replacement surgery, which I am fine, obviously. And also having just walked through a Category 5 hurricane. So there's lots of stuff, and I'm sure in your life there are things. COVID, we just walked through COVID together. I've walked through losing pets. All of us, we are always moving through external circumstances and conditions that can and should. I mean, obviously we react. Obviously we're both human and spiritual. So our human emotions are wonderful. Nobody says don't get mad, don't be sad, don't cry, don't rail. I've done all of those things myself, but ultimately, if we get stuck there, then living a spiritually balanced, happy, fulfilled, meaningful life isn't possible if we can't move past difficult circumstances. Because as far as I can tell, there will always be difficult circumstances. There's always something going on that could have the potential to knock us off our game. Now, the talk that Reverend Edward gave was really about how healing happens from the inside. And I related to it perfectly because I myself had I don't know how much of any of you know about what a joint replacement surgery is, but it's quite brutal. They quite put you under, and then with hammers and saws and all kinds of things, they take out your hip and put in a new one, or take out your shoulder and put in a new one. And when you come out, you have this pretty gaping wound, right? So you kind of look at this wound, this thing that happened, and it's terrifying because it's really ugly and it feels like it will never stop hurting and it will never go away. And the doctor says to you, well, just give it time. The healing will happen, I promise. So don't pay attention to the wound. Pay attention to the healing. Don't pay attention to the wound. Pay attention to the healing. Now, even on a smaller scale, this is true. If you cut your finger, right? If you cut your finger and you do nothing, well, you do have to do something. But if you cut your finger and you watch it, it will heal. All the cells will knit back together. The skin will grow back. It will have a little scab. And within a week or two, you may have a little teensy scar, but in a week or two, the wound will be healed. And that's also true with major wounds as well, physical wounds, right? My hip, I'm not going to show you to you because it's on my hip, and we don't want, I don't want anybody to think we're doing skin flicks here. So, sorry, I don't know what comes out of my mouth sometimes. But I do have a little bit of a scar that looks like a scratch, but the fact is my body did heal. Now, my topic tonight is to remember the source, and to remember that the source of healing is inside, right? That there's nothing you can really do to heal a wound in your body other than to do your part. So your part in the healing of the wound is what? Keep it clean, change the dressings, do whatever your doctor tells you to do. I would also add to stay positive, to stay optimistic, to keep your mind in the right place, but mostly is to keep it clean, right? And to put a Band-Aid on it or Bactine or whatever it is that we do for our wounds. And through some power unknown to us, through some power not associated, it's where it's known to us, but we're not responsible. Now, in case it seems like human beings are really smart, I would say for the most part that human beings, the smart human beings, look to see what's there and then learn how to use what's there. So it's kind of the same with the body healing. The body knows how to heal itself. It will heal itself if given the right circumstances and conditions. And there's not a thing you can do about making that happen. Now, you can probably prevent it through rolling around in the mud or whatever it is that we do to not participate in the healing of our bodies. So this is important from a spiritual perspective because we're not really just talking about our bodies. We're really talking about everything. That the source of healing is not external to us. The world, the visible world, is an effect, meaning it's a result. It's not a cause in and of itself. It's not the source of anything. It's the end result of something. This is a key spiritual idea. I don't care who your teacher is, whether your teacher is a New Thought teacher or a Jewish teacher or a Catholic teacher. Well, maybe, I don't know. That may not totally be true. But certainly from a New Thought perspective and from a metaphysical perspective and a quantum physics perspective, the visible world is the result of invisible causes or an invisible source. And we participate, we co-create with this invisible source. Now, it's hard to do when the world of effects is in your face, right? When the hurricane's happening, when you're in the hospital, when someone you love's in the hospital, when you're losing a pet, when you get a diagnosis, it's almost impossible sometimes to remember that healing happens from the inside. And it takes a great deal of focus and attention and intention to stay true to that course. But if you stay true to that course, what's natural is for the healing to happen. Now, this is actually true. This is actually true if it's your body. It's true if it's a circumstance. It's true if it's a war. It's true if it's a pandemic. It's true if it's depression. It's no matter what it is, there is a healing energy in the world. It's too small. There's a healing energy in the universe. There's a healing energy in the cosmos that conspires for our greater good. Now, from a spiritual perspective, and listen, I'm going to have you repeat a prayer with me in a little while so that you can try to bring this into your experience if it's missing in this moment, because it might be missing in this moment. You might be in the middle of something which is really hard to remember that you are not a victim, or hard to remember that the hurricane, everyone who experienced a hurricane, in truth, in the end, healing will happen. And it's possible for it to turn out to be a complete and total blessing in their lives, even if they lost a house. I have very, very good friends who lost a boat, which means they lost their home. They lost everything. And actually, no names here. They're a married couple, and it's interesting because she and I are very good friends, and she's working so hard to find blessings, so hard to stay on the healing side of the conversation, on the this or something better, of the blessings of letting go and embracing something new. And he's having a terrible time, right? It's just pure devastation. But part of the walk that we walk together, part of the walk that we walk, part of my job as a truth speaker and seeker is to remind us, to remind you, and to remind myself that love always wins, and that we are more than these bodies or our homes or our money or our relationships. We're more. And that we have the potential to bring that memory, that remembrance into any situation that is kind of messing with our serenity. Yes. So just like a wound, just like my hip, the surgical site of a hip replacement or the cutting of your finger, healing, we have to do our part. So we always have to do our part when we're living when we're living a life of spiritual power. We have a part to play. And the part to play is in consciousness, not in doing necessarily, though it could be washing the wound. But in terms of calling in love where love is needed, or aligning yourself with harmony or divine right action, requires you monitor your thoughts, number one, because remember that we are in a collaborative relationship with life. There's not life, or there's not God. I'm going to use the word God, but it's a button, it's a trigger for some people, so I'm not interested in triggering people. But let's just use the quantum field of unlimited possibility, or let's use the universe, or let's use love. It doesn't exist outside of us. The source is within us. The entire source is within us. So in order for it all to work in the way that it's supposed to work, just like the healing, right? The healing has a way it's supposed to work, and our job is to keep the wound clean. In consciousness, in terms of the very essence and quality of your life, your job is to stay in alignment with the source, to not go too far away. And how you get distanced from the source is through negativity, pessimism, worry, doubt, fear, anger, hatred, vengeance, unforgiveness. That's how you create distance. And as long as those things are active in your consciousness, the external world is going to reflect it back to you. And that's true for the individual, and it's true for the country, it's true for cultures, it's true. Because we're in a collaborative, cooperative relationship with the universe. So our job is always to monitor our thoughts. Our job is always to monitor our attention. What are you paying attention to? So if intention also, what is your intention? Where is your attention? And what are you thinking? Now, with a physical wound, I love this analogy so much because it's exactly right. It's just the perfect analogy. It doesn't actually require you to have faith or trust that your body will heal. Do you know why? Because you know that it will. Because since you were a little boy or a little girl, you fell and skinned your knee, or you cut your finger and you watched it heal. You don't know how it healed, but you don't doubt that it will. You have complete faith that this will heal. Now, with my hip, I think I had doubt for a minute. It's like, oh my God, this is never going to heal. And somebody like Edward said, don't look at the wound. Don't pay attention to the wound. The wound will heal. That's what a spiritual person that's what faith is, right? Faith is your wound will heal. No matter what it is, whether it's heartbreak or financial loss or a relationship or the pandemic, it will heal. Why? Because it's just how it works. So we don't need faith to heal the wound on our finger because we already have faith. We have the faith that moves mountains, that if I cut my finger, it will heal. Nobody ever thinks that this wound will never heal. And even if you do, the faith builder is that it will heal. You'll watch it. You'll watch. I have a sister who has had double bypass surgery, a cerebral hemorrhage, a small stroke, and you ought to see this girl. She's still singing and dancing and moving and working. I mean, it's miraculous, really. Now, sometimes the healing is not, sometimes the healing for a soul is not survival in the physical body. We all know that. Sometimes people die. In fact, everyone dies. In fact, all people die. It just depends on when and where your time, when you choose, when it's ready for you. But when we're not dying, we're living, and we're trying to live as good a life as we can, a meaningful, purposeful, powerful, happy, satisfied, fulfilled life, regardless of the external circumstances. And what's required to do that is that God will do its part, and you must do your part. And your part is to, first of all, have faith, transfer the faith that your finger will cut to that love will win. And I know that that's not easy to do sometimes. So I think that in these times, right now I'm doing the work around the selling of my sister's house because there's a lot of conversation that the real estate market is slowing down, and because of the hurricane, nobody's moving to Florida, and all of those things that we say about life that would leave us feeling puny and not in control or having no power or doubting that things will work out for us. All of those things that we say from a metaphysical perspective are called secondary causation. That they're not the real, that they're not what really creates, though they become powerful if you believe them. But remember, the title tonight is "The Source is Within," and the source in this case is primary cause or first cause, because the invisible creates that which is visible. The invisible creates that which is visible. The unseen creates that which is seen. And that which is invisible and unseen is the source of everything. And it is within you. So you have that healing power, that creative power is inherent in your DNA. It's inherent in your consciousness. It's inherent in your beingness. And how we use it is to monitor our thoughts, to monitor our attention and intention, because whatever it is you think, whatever it is you pay attention to, and whatever your ultimate intention is, cannot help but become the visible and seen reality. That is the essence of practical metaphysics. So tonight, the lesson really is to simply just remember that no matter what's going on in your life, the healing is inevitable. And if you don't know that right now, I know that. And that whatever you need to do to keep your consciousness clean, however you clean your consciousness, whether that's you pray, you meditate, you get a session with a spiritual counselor, you read a spiritual scripture or book of some kind. I mean, Abraham Hicks and Wayne Dyer does it for me every time I get lost. Or to listen to, I did a meditation with Dr. Michael Beckwith the other night on YouTube in the middle of the night. So whatever it is you need. And listen, I don't know I've kind of gone down a path myself several times in the past year or two and found my way back. And miracles just, I mean, it is just as amazing how much synchronicity and how much cooperation and how much collaboration is available in life, but you have to do your part. So you can't sit back, because when you say, when you say, if you say nothing good happens to me and then something not good happens, and you say, see, I knew I was right, I want you to see that, I want you to see your part in the cycle of invisible to visible, from unseen to seen. And not like you are to blame, not like it's your fault, but because nobody ever told us the game of life. Nobody ever said that, listen, how this works is it works by virtue of your consciousness. Whatever you are to the world is what the world will be to you. Nobody ever taught us that. Can you imagine if you were taught that when you were 10 or 5? What your life would be if you knew that what life will be to you is whatever you are to it. Don't you think that if we knew that, we would have been more loving, more peaceful, more generous, more appreciative, more grateful? I think that's exactly what would have happened. So, ooh, sorry. Hold on. Hold on. Don't go away. Whew. Went down the wrong pipe. So yes, the healing is inevitable. So I thought what I would do is have you do a prayer with a call and response. And then listen, you're right in your living room. So so you can just say anything out loud because nobody's watching you. I should be a little self-conscious because everybody's watching me. But this is to boost your faith and to call in for yourself. It's like cleaning the wound. This will be like cleaning the wound. So we'll close with a prayer. So I don't really want to talk too much after we say it, the prayer together. So let me just say how great it is to be together. Next Sunday, I'll be in North Carolina. So I don't know that I can stream on Sunday night, but I'll be doing the talk at the Center for Spiritual Living in Raleigh, the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. So you can find it online and we can be live together. But I'll be back a week from Sunday to stream again. So take a breath. Remember, the healing is inevitable. Clean your consciousness. Keep your consciousness clean. Change the dressing. So get a change of scenery. Do something this week like forgive someone. Do something this week like read something uplifting. But mostly it's just to don't focus your attention on the wound. Don't focus your attention on what's broken. Focus your attention on what you want. Right? Don't stare at the gaping. Don't stare at your finger. Don't pick off the scab. Pay attention to the healing, not to what's wrong. Yes? All right. So turn within with me. Just close your eyes. Take a deep breath. I want you to repeat each sentence after I say it. I want you to say it. And I'll go slow and you can go slow. All right. So just prepare yourself, prepare your heart, prepare your mind to receive the blessing of the prayer. You're going to be saying the prayer as if you're saying it, not me. So, all right. So repeat after me. I take a breath in this moment and turn within. I turn within to a power and a presence which resides within me. I recognize it as the source of all that is. With this awareness, I accept the truth of healing, clarity, and order. Say that sentence again. With this awareness, I accept the truth of healing, clarity, and order. Even now, I know that and more is moving from invisible to visible. From unseen to seen. Every crooked place in my life and in the world. Every crooked place in my life and in the world is being made straight, whole, and healed by love. With indescribable gratitude, I release the words I have spoken into universal love and law. I await the fulfillment of my word with faith. All is well. I let it be, and so it is. Amen. Stay turned within for a moment. I'm going to say that again in its entirety, so let it wash over you. I realize that was a mouthful for you, so let me read it one more time. You just listen this time. So I take a breath in this moment and turn within. I turn within to a power and a presence which resides within me. I recognize it as a source of all that is. With this awareness, I accept the truth of healing, clarity, and order, and know that even now, that and more is moving from invisible to visible, from unseen to seen. Every crooked place in my life and in the world is being made straight, whole, and healed by love. With indescribable gratitude, I release the words I've spoken into universal love and law, and I await the fulfillment of my word with faith. All is well, I let it be, and so it is. Amen. So, all is well. Have a wonderful Sunday evening. I'll see some of you next week, and I will be back 2 weeks from tonight. So peace and blessings. If you want to reach me, you can easily at revdschubert@gmail.com. As always, I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.